Hi, my name is tgtrouper. With me today is K.L. Skinner. I interviewed K.L. Skinner before. It was this one, wasn't it?
Yes, well, that was the second book.
This one was the second book. I like to do the most recent books from authors, but as a second book, there was clearly a first. So Karen's going to be talking today about the book Gods of Outrageous Fortune. So I have my clipboard as ever. So Karen, conspiracies isn't a genre on its own. How would you describe the genre of your books?
I would describe them as crime and conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
So conspiracy as a subgenre of crime. It's typically been a genre, a subgenre within adventure and mystery.
Mm-hmm.
The most popular ones that come to my mind straight away are the Dan Brown series. And in crime, perhaps only the Handmaid's Tale series from Margaret Atwood. But I think there's more to be had with conspiracy. I think it's more interesting.
Yeah.
And a good way to add suspense to a crime story without too much violence.
Yeah.
So, I think it deserves a bit more of a show.
Okay. So what inspired you to write it?
Oh, well, I have a bit of a confession here. The Olympians are the group of 12 who are the conspirators within the series of books that I'm writing. And I didn't actually invent the Olympians. They've previously been known as a pro-eugenics group within the Illuminati.
Okay.
And there have been conspiracy stories about them for
Mm-hmm.
as long as there have been conspiracy stories. So it was when I was first at work, around about 1987, I think it was. I just left school and started work. And a medical paper was published that year, which explained the data, which proved the link between HIV and AIDS.
Yeah.
And it was an absolutely terrifying time.
Oh, yeah.
I remember it very well. And then soon after that, American drug companies started releasing data about promising things that they'd seen about a new drug that they were trialing. Soon after that, we found out that it wasn't an AIDS medication. It was previously a cancer medication that had been shelved and was being repurposed as an AIDS treatment. AZL, I think it was.
AZT.
AZT, that's it, yeah. And when that information came out, everybody started gossiping about why it was we didn't have proper medication for AIDS. And this was long before we knew that it was, before we knew anything about antiviral, retroviral medications or autoimmune disease. This was all something very new. So it made sense to me to think that if somebody was screaming at you, begging you for some medication, something, anything, you'd go to the storeroom and you check to see what it is you'd got before you started playing with new things and experimenting with new. But a lot of other people started to focus on conspiracy ideas. Could this be a control? And where did all of this come from? And that, as far as conspiracy theory goes, that's not new. That happens every time we have a new risk or there's a new drug. But Big Pharma is one area where conspiracy theory takes hold very easily.
Oh, yes,
so I just thought that was interesting. And so when I started to write about conspiracy, I focused back on that. And I thought that would be a good theme.
Good.
If I focus on too many conspiracy theories, it would be going off in all directions. I had to pick one.
Yeah.
So I focused on Big Pharma.
Yeah. So what makes your book unique?
I don't think, as far as I know, I don't think there's anybody else who is putting conspiracy front and centre within a crime novel the way I like to.
Okay.
There are, obviously, as I've said, that there are in adventure and mysteries, and occasionally in crime, but usually only as an additional idea.
Yeah, a little bit of subtext.
Yeah. It's not front and centre, and I thought that would be a really interesting thing to play around with, and just to try and see what it came out.
When do you think that you can call yourself a writer? When can anybody call themselves a writer?
Well, that's a question that I've been asked sometimes, a few times before. I think anybody can call themselves a writer if they're willing to commit their thoughts and their story ideas to paper.
Mm-hmm.
You can call yourself an author when you've published that.
Mm.
But I think there are two main things that you should do. First of all, you need to actually commit to paper, or at least put fingers to keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And
Doesn't have quite the same ring to it. Fingers to keyboard,
no,
does
well,
it?
pen to paper. This is how I like to start, but not everybody does. And also being willing to share it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a huge step for a lot of people.
Oh,
That's a pretty big ask.
It was years for me.
Yeah. It was for me too. I'd been writing a lot of poetry and short stories since I was at school. But it wasn't until just before my youngest, I was expecting my youngest, that I actually joined a writer's circle and was able to share what it was I'd written. And that was a huge leap forward. But you're not going to get the support that you need, or the encouragement that you need to keep on writing. To be a writer, you need to be consistent.
Yeah.
You need to keep on writing. You need to be able to keep on producing. And that's hard work for many. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, it does. So, what books and magazines do you read regularly, and why? And would you recommend them to other people who are aspiring writers?
Well, until recently, I did subscribe to a writing magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I changed jobs, I let that subscription go because it was horrifically expensive.
Yeah.
A good thing to ask for a Christmas present, but horrifically expensive to maintain. I read travel, all sorts of non-fiction, Greek myths and legends, and documentary type articles, and I listen to a lot of podcasts of the same thing as well. I would say not to restrict myself just to reviewing crime and news, because an idea can come from anywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and try and I think the best thing is to try and broaden your reading, and not just also your reading, but what news channels do you listen to? What do you watch on TV? And broaden it just as far as you can, and it can take you to surprising places.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, we all do research. What's the most surprising thing you've learnt? Even if it's nothing to do with the research you're doing, you could sit there, you're typing away, and all of a sudden, oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, the most surprising thing. Goodness. I think it was an idea that came when I was talking to another writer. He writes sci-fi, which is not my sort of thing. But he said he was quite inspired by a book he read, which was a collection of letters back home from £10 Poms.
Oh, right,
people who were making a new life for themselves in Australia. very often with very little support, not just financially but also socially. Very little support and having to start over and build a new life. And he said that gave him a new perspective. So when you put somebody on a distant planet and they're trying to world build with a new civilization, it gave him another angle. It gave him another idea that he hadn't thought of before. I think that's what's encouraged me to read more widely. Not just to see what other authors are doing, although from a slightly plagiaristic point of view, that's always useful.
Everybody does it.
We all do it.
Everybody does it.
But also to spark a new idea. And if it can lead you into a new direction, then that's always fascinating. It's always a real pleasure when that happens and catches you by surprise.
I like to type using Calibri 12 point. What font do you use and why?
I do particularly like using sans serif font. I think it makes mistakes easier to spot.
It's also cluttered, is it?
Absolutely. I mean, for reading my own pleasure, a serif font is absolutely fun because it connects the letters. So it's supposed to make it
almost cursive.
Yes, so it's supposed to make writing easier to read. A sans serif font, I like one that has quite an open design, especially in what I call the rounded letters. So A's and D's, those with circles within, are much more open. My current favourite is Verdana. Previously to that, it was Tahoma.
Right. Yeah.
I do use Calibri, but for some strange reason, I don't like typing in Arial, which is another favourite.
Yes, I know. It's just that sort of like a little bit bolder, isn't it?
It feels I know it sounds weird to say it, but it feels like an unfriendly font. it doesn't encourage you to read. And I think when you're editing your own work, you'll always see things in print that you don't see on screen.
Yes.
So when you print it out, and I like to edit by hand, and in print, then mistakes are much more easy to spot in sans serif font.
Yes, they are. What subject matter was the most difficult to write about? How do you get into your character's head, and more importantly, how do you get out of your character's head?
Right. So this was something I've been asked before within a crime writing setting. But for me, writing the crime has been kind of easy. I don't know what that says about me, but I've always found that quite easy. One thing that I do find quite difficult to write is romance. I can write about the physical aspects of it, not too badly, I don't think, but heartfelt romance for me is a bit bleh. So, but then it is a part of everyday life, and you have to make your characters as real and as believable as they can. And while you're writing it, you have to believe that they're real and as easy to talk to as you would, a real life person. Because I think that if you're not believing that, then your readers aren't going to believe it.
That's true. Yeah.
But to go anywhere beyond a kiss is hard work for me. Yeah, some people seem to write it really easily, and a lot of women writers do write that very well. And that I'm a great admirer of those women writers who write funny women who have that sparky sense of humour and who enjoy romance within their lives and enjoy talking about it. But I can't get into that headspace. It's just not a part of me. So I don't know. I find that hard. I find that hard work.
I have a confession to make here. I heard Karen reading part of her book, and I thought I wrote dark stuff. But next question
Yes, I
is,
do.
your story is told in the first person and includes an abduction scene.
Yes.
That is something everybody's terrified of. How did that make you feel when you were writing it?
Not scared, but very nervous in a way that I didn't want to deliberately give people nightmares, but I did want it to be real. So what I do is that when I have an idea for some sort of fight scene or in the beginning, the abduction, I can see it in my head almost like you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
And then when I go to write it, I slow it down. So it's almost like watching the same clip of a film in slow motion. What happens? How does it happen? And who's thinking what when it happens? Writing in the first person puts you in one person's headspace. So you can only guess at what other people are thinking. And in some ways, that's actually scarier than knowing what it is. So I was just taking it a little section at a time, like a freeze frame at a time. What was happening and how did my protagonist, Kim, feel about it? What was going through her head? And that was what made it scary rather than the physical violence of the act. I mean, that could have been much more blood and gore than it was. And I enjoy reading that just as much as anybody else. But I thought there was a way to be scary, to put forward the violence of everyday life without it needing to be gory, without it needing to be. It doesn't have to be bloodthirsty to be scary.
When I write scenes like that, I like to write it in such a way where the reader would think to themselves, "What would I do in that situation?"
Yeah. So yeah, I was putting myself in Kim's head in that scene. But in order to write it, I had to break it down into smaller pieces. And then when I read it back, I could see where joins needed to be made. And and you can do that in the editing process. But just to get it down on paper first is very useful. And then you can type it up and add thoughts and feelings as you go along.
So what do you like about writing?
I quite like the solitude of it. I like being able to invent stuff and not have people think that I'm scary or crazy. It was actually really nice. I went into an art shop not too far from where I live, and in Hertford this was. And it's a very artistic space. And I was admiring one painting in there, and the guy who was running the shop at the time said that the guy who painted the picture that I was looking at also liked to write. So I put out an open invitation and said, well, come along to one of our writers group meetings, and they can share ideas and get some encouragement. And he said, well, this guy's kind of shy. He might not come along. But I said, well, when I first went, it was nice to be able to share ideas and thoughts with others and think, wow, I'm not crazy. And the guy in the shop said, oh yeah, we are. We're all crazy, but we're all crazy together. And that's nice. You've got that community sense. You've got community feeling.
Support.
Absolutely.
What do you dislike about writing?
Editing. Yeah, I don't think anybody likes that. When I finished a manuscript, I've usually got about between 320 and 350 pages of typed written work, which I then print off. After I've done a chapter, I'll go back and reread it just to make sure that it makes sense. But I try not to do any more than that. It's tempting to print it off straight away. I think that's a bad idea. You have to make yourself wait until I finish the whole manuscript, print it off, and then it looks nice, like a nice neat document, and I label it and put covers on it, and then put it in a drawer for at least 2 weeks.
Right.
It should be longer, but after about 2 weeks, I'm starting to get itchy, and I need to drag it out and look at it again. But then at least after that time, I've put a little bit of headspace between me and the work. So that way, when I go back and review it, I can spot mistakes more easily, and I feel less precious about correcting them. I think, oh, God, did I write that? That's really clunky. So, yeah, red pencil that. So I use red and blue pencils that I get from a local crafts shop. They're pastel pencils, which allow me to scribble all over the document, but also still read what it is underneath. So if I cross something out, I can still read it. So nuts and bolts mistakes and tautology, bad grammar, everything like that, I tend to correct in red pencil. And then anything more nuts and bolts, like somebody's eyes changing colour, or a conversation mistakenly happening twice, I'll correct that in blue. And so I'll go through the document twice and correct all the red mistakes first, then go back, correct all the blue mistakes. And only when I think that it's as good as I can get it, then I'll send it to my editor, and she'll give it the professional look. Each time I've done those mistakes and created a new manuscript, I've printed that off, put that in a drawer, and given that. So each new draft gets the same treatment. My first one, The Gods of Outrageous Fortune, that took 6. And it was still shockingly bad when I sent it to my editor. The second book, The Firefly Initiative, that took 3 drafts, and there were still improvements to be made. So, I mean, there are some writers who are happy just to write the thing and let it go just as it is. But I think it'd be kind of rude of me just to send it to my editor without making sure that it's as good as I think I can get it. And then her professional eye will pick up what needs strengthening. And she usually sends me a report with that as well. So yeah, that's the bit I hate least. But no, I like least. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard work. Writing's the fun part. Having to do everything else afterwards is hard work.
Do you plan, or are you pantser, or do you plan it out first?
I would describe myself more as a planner rather than a plotter. I write chapter layouts. So assuming that I'm going to write 30-something chapters, I write roughly 30 paragraphs. No more than a few lines each, but just telling me what it is I want to happen in that story, and how, just to make sure that each chapter is a stepping stone that moves the story forward and keeps it going. There are going to be places where the story slows a little bit, and you're going to focus more on the characters and maybe give them a little bit of background, which is always nice. But you can't do that too much, because otherwise the story will slow, and then you're not keeping pace.
Jarring, doesn't it?
Yeah. It can get a bit annoying when you're reading that, in somebody else's work. You think, oh, well, this is all very nice information, but when are we going to get to the meat and potatoes? When are we going to get to the action? So yeah.
So finally, where can people buy your books?
They're available on Amazon. You can buy them as hardback and as Kindle versions. Gods of Outrageous Fortune has had a recent update, a slightly new edit, and that will be coming out within the next couple of months. So hopefully by the time I've got my new web page up and running. That will be ready to purchase, and they will be available to purchase on my new website as well.
What about craft fairs and book fairs? Do you
Yes,
get involved with those?
I do.
Is there any coming up?
There's a Dunmo one.
Excellent.
And I have applied, and I've been told that I have a space.
Good.
So I'm waiting for some more details to come through for that, and I need to send personal details to them. Yes, I'll be there. I'm looking forward to that. I've never been to the Dunmo one before.
It's the first one. That's why.
Oh, it's brand new.
It's brand new.
Wow.
The guy who organises it had written a book about Dunmo, and it was the first time somebody had written a fiction about Dunmo, and there wasn't a bookshop in Dunmo for him to sell his book. So I thought, let's turn the whole place into a bookshop.
That's a very sad
I have done a video
mission.
on that one.
That's a very sad omission that needs rapid correction, in my opinion. That no bookshop in Dunmo.
Nope. So the whole town has become one massive bookshop with authors in various shops selling their wares.
Excellent.
Given what I write, I think I'm going to be in a butcher's shop.
Oh, where would I be?
So there will be a link in the description. And thank you very much, K.L. Skinner.
Thank you.